From Arizona's most watched station, this is 12 News.
Buckeye is booming. Officials say the population will climb from 11,000 today to 50,000 by 2010, and hundreds of thousands will follow.
There's going to be major changes in Buckeye, and I'm not sure that the existing town people really have a grasp or understand what's coming.
The Buckeye Town Council will soon decide whether to annex a 35,000-acre parcel called Douglas Ranch.
We got 300 people a day moving into Maricopa County, and they got to live somewhere, so they might as well live in Buckeye.
The community west of the White Tank Mountains pictured here would include 83,000 new homes, 22 golf courses, 27 elementary schools, and 8 high schools. But it won't all come at once.
The timeline on Douglas Ranch is to break ground is probably 10 to 12 years out.
The growth spurred by developments like Verrado, which already broke ground, promise to transform this quiet community into a sprawling suburb.
Well, it's coming. I don't like it, but it's coming.
It's hard to imagine that it'll be that fast. I really don't know. I don't know where they're coming from and where they're all going to work.
For 12 News, I'm Paul Matthews.
It's been 1 week you looked at me.
Companies like Mitsubishi boost sales by marketing ordinary sedans as rolling parties on wheels. Dealers in the Valley say when it comes to cars, music sells.
Sometimes they pay more attention and spend more time looking at that than the rest of the car.
That's why companies like Ford and Nissan are rolling out their own versions of bone-rattling sound systems, the kind that used to show up only in custom cars. Sporty models like Ford's Mustang and Nissan 350Z have them, but so do entry-level sedans like the Focus and the Sentra. These are the cars people under 30 are buying, and they're driving the trend.
They are well in tune with what they want in their audio system.
People like 29-year-old Eric Pollard, who drives a Sentra Spec V.
And they got an equalizer built into it and bass, subwoofer in the back. Just all factory.
These new rolling boomboxes at $500 to $1,200 to the sticker price, and they're the hottest sellers.
That's the one that gets shown first and sold first. Again, the sound system helps sell the car.
For 12 News, Bram Resnick.
Step up 1 foot at a time. It's similar to stepping up on an escalator or step stool.
Getting on the Segway is the hardest part. The machine has no gas pedal, no brakes. Your body tells it what to do.
Just like you were to fall forward.
Here I go, I'm going forward. A little bit, time I just bend my knees, it just goes.
A turn takes just the tweak of the handlebar.
All you want to do is twist a little bit to the left. And you'll go to the left.
The Segway's electronic brain mimics our own sense of balance. It can almost read your mind.
But you've been on for less than a minute.
And
You're already proficient.
But I'm not learning how to deliver the mail. Today, Chandler letter carriers start a 2-month test of the Segway. The U.S. Postal Service expects the $9,000 machine to save time, money, and even cut pollution. A dime's worth of electricity juices up the machine for 2 hours of riding time. The question is, will the battery hold up in the desert heat as well as the mail carriers do? And then there's the other question.
this is the most responsive machine I've ever driven. This is astonishing.
Awesome.
How can I get one?
You'll have to wait till next year to buy a consumer model. Till then,
see you guys. I'm having fun.
I'm gone.
The Levine Fire Station isn't your typical Phoenix firehouse.
Tiene identificación. Perfecto.
When firefighters like Liddell Button aren't fighting fires, they're battling verb tenses and pronouns in Spanish.
First, I get up and I get my mind prepared to come in here and do a bunch of tongue-twisting stuff.
The station is the first in the country where firefighters are immersed full-time in Spanish. They attend a Spanish class for 2 hours every morning and practice well into the night.
I know that I'm a long way away from being able to have a conversation, but I want to be able to communicate with people, in accidents, pregnancies, whatever the case may be.
Officials say that in some parts of Phoenix, 1 in 3 calls is to someone who only speaks Spanish.
Here at Station 58, firefighters listen to Spanish radio. They watch Spanish language television. They even practice those newfound language skills at the local grocery store.
Pollo. Pechugas. 2 L's, yo.
After 4 months, Button and the other firefighters here will be reassigned to other stations, and a new crew will arrive.
In 10 years, we'd like to have 50% of the fire department members speaking at an operational level of Spanish.
For 12 News, I'm Paul Matthews.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
Americans looking for adventure have always hit the road, but now that we'll drive twice as long to avoid airport hassles, some new destinations just 8 hours from the valley come to mind. Places like Durango, Colorado. The narrow gauge railway put this old west town on the map, but there are other choices for outdoors fun here: mountain biking, fishing and golf, even a bobsled on wheels. Head east to Santa Fe and you'll find some breathtaking New Mexican scenery, plus architecture and art. And it's a great place to soak up Native American culture. For a different kind of culture, the small town of Cedar City is home to the Utah Shakespeare Festival, staging plays June through October.
It is a miracle of love.
South of the border, Rocky Point isn't the only Mexican destination worth dropping in on. A 5-hour drive from Nogales lands you in the seaside town of Guaymas, and plenty of excitement. It's also where scuba divers can find some of the best conditions. Divers and snorkelers will also love Catalina Island, a short boat ride off the coast of Southern California. The island has the feel of a peaceful Mediterranean fishing village, but visitors here do like to hit the road. Looking for adventure?
Born to be wild.
Kevin Kelly, 12 News.
80 earthen reservoirs are dry. Animals are dying.
They don't have enough vegetation as you look around, you know. We have water that runs up to here, but still, you know, they don't have plenty to eat.
At the Botaway Gap chapter on the reservation's west end, ranchers come from miles away to fill water tanks for their livestock.
How often do you come here to get water?
Every 3 days.
Every 3 days?
Yeah.
Okay. So you drive 3 hours every 3 days? And is it a 3-hour trip one way?
As the state's withering drought continues to dry up the food source for livestock in this area, ranchers are growing increasingly concerned that their animals may soon look like this.
Conditions are so severe, the tribe is encouraging members to sell their animals or move them off the reservation.
They should have grown more, but they're kind of small because of the lack of rain, lack of grass, shrubs, and shrubbery.
The Navajo Nation declared a drought emergency. Money is available from the federal government for help in obtaining water. So far, few ranchers have applied. The tribe has little money to give, and few are asking the chapter for help.
They're very reluctant to think that the chapter itself has money.
As the summer goes on, locals will continue looking to the sky with hope and faith.
In the end, I think we're just going to persevere.
For 12 News, I'm Paul Matthews.
Anthrax contamination in Congress, post offices, and network newsrooms.
My understanding is it was kind of a residue of something.
After the first news reports, frightened callers from across the country overwhelmed the BTOX analytical labs in North Phoenix, sending samples of almost every kind of white powder.
People had sent us couch cushions and business suits, and it got crazy to where we couldn't even store all the samples.
The fear was spreading.
From the very top, from the federal government, all the way down to grandmothers worried about their grandchildren.
The analysts at BTOX worked long hours inside their sealed-off lab. Whatever is tested inside stays inside.
As long as I watch what I'm doing and I'm careful, I'm not in any danger.
These are experienced scientists, but even they hadn't seen anthrax before.
It looks very similar to this.
And when the results came in, very few of the samples tested positive.
Some threats, some non-credible threats, some ultimate confirmation that employees hadn't been exposed to anything out of the ordinary.
But the scientists were exposed to a side of humanity they'd rather not see.
As a microbiologist, I'm always sensitive to any way I can catch an infectious disease. As a citizen, it just makes me feel terrible that there are people out there that would do this.
Mature trees and landscaping fit this house like a glove. It looks like it's been here for years. In reality, it's only been 4 years. Sharon Ast wanted a home in Central Phoenix that was convenient to everything, but not just any house.
I had been in love with Victorian all my life.
She found plans in a magazine, hired a contractor, and built her own.
There's something about this house that makes people feel safe and welcome and comfortable.
Comfort is part of the plan, but not just for the owners. One evening a week, Sharon uses these rooms as a safe haven for women in crisis. It's part of a Christian counseling program called Tea and Comfort.
Every room I knew had to be someplace for a woman to be in private. And that helps the women feel safe, like they have their own room.
The other 6 days of the week, it's a regular home, including a working kitchen where even the appliances look antique. The bathrooms also have style with clawfoot tubs. Ceilings look like tin, but are actually painted wallpaper. One piece of the modern world stands out, her husband's big screen TV.
I've kind of enjoyed just going down into the living room and watching football games and that kind of thing.
The couple owns Shasta Pools, so this backyard had to have a great place to swim. Maybe too great.
It was only when I saw 21 plumbers show up that I knew I didn't have the quiet Victorian pond. So I made them put that one in the front yard.
You see speeding drivers every day.
You see, even with us sitting here, traffic is 66, 68.
And you've seen the results. But despite the devastating effects of high-speed accidents, ADOT says higher speed limits are safer if everyone goes the same speed.
What we're trying to do is avoid situations where you have vehicles traveling 55 and some vehicles traveling 65, 70 or more.
ASU professor Rob Gray studies driving behavior, and he said many people simply don't realize how fast they're driving.
After you've been driving on the road for even a short period of time, the areas in your brain that respond to motion get fatigued and you're less sensitive to your speed.
And that can lead to accidents. Last year alone, speed contributed to 71% of all crashes on the 101. And this year, accidents on the eastbound stretch of the freeway have increased dramatically. Yet people continue to hit the gas.
Well, on 101 recently, since it did go up to 65 from 55, I see out here is the typical speeds are pretty much the same, 75, 80 miles an hour.
ADOT plans another speed study by the 1st of next year.
Really what we're trying to do is look at what the speeds are. The majority of people are traveling out there and setting a speed limit that's reasonable and safe.
And hope everyone obeys.
When Cynthia Phillips decided on a new home, this is what she wanted, a view of the desert from the bedroom window. That's why she and husband Kelly decided to buy a 1-acre lot just north of Phoenix and build their own custom home. One hitch, they didn't have a lot of cash to throw around.
You want this Mercedes-Benz, but your budget is a Volkswagen, and that's basically where we were.
The couple worked with architect Jack Houston to design a Santa Fe-style 3-bedroom home. And to keep costs down, extra fireplaces and an observation deck in the original plans were never built. They also saved money by getting the best deal on things like countertops and cabinets.
It's all about shopping. You want to get at least 3 bids on everything. And a lot of contractors may not want to work that way, so you got to find a contractor that's willing and to be open-minded and flexible.
For finish work, nature was the inspiration. This rock found on the lot became the color guide for choosing floor tile. The breakfast nook was placed here, taking advantage of nearby saguaros. It's not easy, but both architect and client say regular people can build a custom home that fits their personal lifestyle if they can be flexible.
Very flexible.
And patience is the key.
Patience.
As the Phillips found out, the results can be worth it.
My husband and I didn't get a divorce. We have more house than what we'd ever dreamed of.
Charlie Esther brings the water from the mountains down to the valley. Surveying things from the air, Bartlett Lake doesn't look too good.
It should probably have about twice as much water in it as it does.
A few miles north, it's worse.
Here you're starting to get a pretty good view of Horseshoe Dam and what should be Horseshoe Lake.
But the bigger story is along the Salt River and the shoreline of Roosevelt Lake. It holds most of the valley's water supply, at least it once did.
We're sitting actually on the bottom of Roosevelt Lake. So right now, if the lake were full, we'd probably have 60 or 70 feet of water above us.
That's because Roosevelt is at just 12% of capacity. Thousands of freshwater clamshells litter the ground.
But what that tells me is this area here hasn't been dry very often in the past.
Here in the valley, most people don't realize things are this bad.
I think that we probably think we're pretty well off.
And I go to the tap and I turn the water on and it's there.
and nobody has told me that it's not going to be there.
It's hard to blame the average person. All we've done in Phoenix is turn off a few water fountains. But head outside the city, and experts say native plants offer a clue. Many of them are dying. In the high country, bark beetles are finishing off more than 2 million trees weakened by drought, more than were lost in the fires all of last summer. The next few months are critical. With above normal rain and snow, the valley might avoid being forced to conserve water. But another winter like last year...
What you see here at Roosevelt at 12%, if we were to come back next year after a winter like that, this lake would be dry.
For 12 News, Bram Resnick of the Arizona Republic.
Call it eclectic, call it cozy. Ed Handley had a vision for this house.
A combination of a French, Spanish, Italian, Mexican farmhouse.
He and his wife, Adrienne, call it home. The goal was to make this home look different, look old. When interior stucco walls were laid, Ed told workers to stop before they finished.
Don't smooth it down, don't spray it too much, let it dry, let it crack. We want the cracks.
But the best part is all the recycled wood, timbers more than 100 years old, some with metal spikes that add character. The wood was salvaged from a bridge that once crossed part of the Great Salt Lake. Ed bought 5 truckloads, hired an architect and contractor, but also did lots of the work himself.
It was try something, see if it works, and if it doesn't, try something else until you find the technique that does work.
5 fireplaces and a huge country kitchen are part of what works. So is the setting, a stone's throw from Oak Creek.
Well, the creek was probably what first led us to the property.
Property that had views of water and red rocks, but an existing house that needed to go.
I didn't buy the house, I bought this spot.
A special spot for a special house.
The timing, the opportunity that presented itself with the wood, and the people that were gathered at that time to do the construction were absolutely perfect.
See the notes. You know what I mean?
16-year-old Matt Horn is getting an education that's priceless.
He talks to me and treats me as like just a friend.
Music lessons can cost $35 an hour. At Rosie's house, they're free.
That's a lot of stuff, huh? Yeah, that'd be $50.
Along with the instruments. The music education carries over into Matt's schoolwork.
It helps me to stay more organized. Like I put priorities in order, and I stay just like really attentive to what it is that I need to do.
That's one of the payoffs for social venture partners. The Valley Group invests in the 365 kids at Rosie's house the same way they would invest in a business, with money, time, and a focus on results.
It's not all, here's the money, come back and tell us what's going on. They're involved in right along the way in every part of it.
In the last year, Rosie's house has moved into its new home, a former mission in South Phoenix, and has a new director. It's all part of the plan.
You have a commitment to that organization that goes way beyond just having written the check.
Matt has his plan too. He's recorded a CD and now performs solo in concert.
I haven't never seen any flute CDs or trumpet CDs. Everybody's been playing the sax. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be one of those guys one day.
After high school, he'll study music in college. Sounds like a great investment. For 12 News, Bram Resnick of the Arizona Republic. Intel's chips are powering your computer, and its people are powering the Valley, volunteering in schools, donating money for education, and taking home some of the fattest paychecks, an average $66,000 per employee.
They act as an anchor that attract other high-tech companies to come here because, frankly, they all want to dip into that talent pool.
That anchor may be slipping. Intel's employment in the Valley, concentrated in Chandler, topped out at 10,000 last year. Now it's sliding back toward 9,000. Intel CEO Craig Barrett's been through several industry slumps in 30 years, but nothing like this one.
This one has been about the longest that we've seen, about the deepest that we've seen. So it'll end. I can't tell you exactly when.
In the meantime, Intel's business is changing. More of its semiconductor chips are being designed and built in Asia and Europe.
A lot of our growth opportunities will be abroad because a lot of our business is going to be abroad. And as I mentioned, a lot of the educated workforce is going to be abroad.
And that means fewer of those bunny suits for the Valley. For 12 News, Bram Resnick of the Arizona Republic.
A half-acre lot in the hills looking down on Prescott. Builder Don Carter had a goal.
Create something that would leave as much natural beauty as possible.
The boulder setting was spectacular, but also a problem.
This had this rock behind me here as a feature that was in the middle of the lot, and most people thought it would have to be blasted out.
They skipped the dynamite and instead built the house around it. Half stayed outside, the rest now inside. Don and his crew turned the boulder into a water feature, bringing the look and sound of a mountain creek right into the dining room. Pipes in the foundation let the water flow outside to a second pond on the back patio, where this support column anchors into another boulder. It's also a fountain, part of a bigger plan.
Create the roof so that it went up at an angle again to bring in blue sky, sunshine, and a very warm and comfortable feeling, and yet make the water feature feel like it was part of the house.
Just steps from that patio, the large master bedroom has its own fireplace. In the kitchen, an unusual V-shaped design creates two separate work areas. The final piece of the puzzle were ornamental grasses. They soften the hard look of the boulders, don't need much water, and also make sound as mountain breezes blow through.
I think most people aren't even aware that you can ask for sound and music in the landscape from plants.
Or that you could build a house into boulders.
People have a hard time visualizing, especially when it comes to houses, and so this has been a big plus in helping them to see that and see what can be done.
Talk to the fans, and the thing that burns them most about a baseball strike is the players make more than they do, a lot more, and it's still not good enough.
Way more money than the average person makes in a lifetime, and they're complaining about it.
Face it, most big league fans earn minor league salaries. The average ball player takes home $2.4 million a year. The average Valley worker could earn that much in a lifetime, working every day for 75 years. Valley teachers earn just $31,000 a year. That was good money for ball players 30 years ago. Firefighters, they also go down swinging, an average salary of $44,000. High tech does get some hits. Intel workers who make the brains of your computers pull in $60,000 a year. But even the CEOs are out of their league, pulling in an average $102,000. Fans also have to fork out money for the tickets, the hot dogs. Taxpayers even help pay for the stadium. Does this make any kind of financial sense? Well, it does, if you remember that just 600 players in the world can hit, run, and throw well enough to make the major leagues. For 12 News, Bram Resnick.
Floater, center field, the Diamondbacks